Silver, gosh, isn't it just the investment that just keeps on giving or taking away? It's hard to tell sometimes. Today's video, we're going to talk about the roller coaster ride that is silver. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and thanks for joining me for another analysis at silver. And I do mean analysis. I know that I am very negative towards silver on my channel, but there's a very valid reason for that, and I do want you all to bear with me. I did say right at the start of the video that silver seems to be the bad investment that just keeps on giving. You know, it seems to just want to mess with our heads, mess with our psyches and our bank balances. But I have a message of positivity to share about this whole adventure that you might be on investing in silver, it going up, it going down, left, right, center, all over the place in this current world. And that is just simply that you never lose money on silver unless you actually cash out from your position in it. And that's something that a lot of people forget. And it's natural human emotional response to something where you've bought at a certain price and then the price drops. You have emotions around whether you could have waited and purchased at a lower price or whether or not your investment has lost value and you've lost money and you think, oh God, it's the end of the world. Well, the message is simple. You don't lose money on silver until you actually cash out of your position in it. And as a lot of you know, my channel have been watching for a long time, the message is long term. The message is about holding on and having the chance to sell when it's right for you. And that's what we're going to kind of focus on here today to try and combat, I think, a lot of the questions I know I'm being asked almost on a daily basis through emails and YouTube comments about this recent dip in silver prices and whether this is the time to back the truck up. There's definitely, I have problems with that phrase. I really do. I don't like it, and I don't like the idea of people backing trucks up and buying more silver than is right for them. That's kind of the message here. Now, I've said on my channel so many times before, my little disclaimer, that I'm not a financial advisor. This video is not financial advice. It's just me talking at the camera about shiny things. And I do get asked, why do I say that? And to be honest, I say that because I think there's a responsibility of people who've got influence. And whilst I hate to be called an influencer, I have a significant number of people who will watch this video and will follow this video, or who will find this video. You've not even been subscribed to my channel before. Perhaps this is the first video you've ever seen of mine. But you'll see it because YouTube will have recommended it, or somewhere else in the internet someone has recommended it or shared it to you. And a lot of people can take and do take a lot of the messages that they hear in media like this and online and various different dealers at face value. It's natural. We have significant amount of human bias in our lives, in the way that we work and how we want to think or how we think we should think. And a lot of people can get sucked in, and silver and gold are very much addictive purchases. I know, speaking from experience, that when you get your first coin, when you get that first piece of silver, whether it's poured silver or whether it's a coin in your hand, it is a very special thing, even more so when it's gold. And it can be very difficult to disconnect from the reality that that is money. That's a rent check in your hand. You know, if you've got a 1 ounce gold coin in your hand, that's granted a decent rent check, but it's a big rent check. That could be a couple of months rent for some people, 6 months rent for some people. It could be a brand new car for some people. And it's all fine and well for people like myself and many others here on YouTube and social media that will post lovely photographs of their huge kilo bars or kilo pieces of gold or massive amounts of gold stack or silver stack. But, you know, in my head, I feel like the people that are sharing those, the vast majority anyway, are pretty sensible people. You know, they have bought silver, which is of course a good thing, but a lot of those people will do so responsibly. And I know for a fact there's a lot of big YouTubers, silver tubers here in the community that are very like-minded to myself, that buying within your own means, buying within the medium that you can afford and, you know, afford to lose, I think is the other thing as well, is really, really key and important. And, you know, that can go for premium pieces of hand-poured silver like the stuff that I make and many others as well, or it can go for just stacking up on bullion grade Eagles or Britannias or whatever it might be that's your cheapest bullion coin of choice in your country. And, you know, you do see a lot of these, I think, very responsible stackers talking about the fact that this is a long-term savings mechanism for them. But equally so, there are quite a few big and small YouTubers and, you know, bullion investment channels, or, you know, day traders of various things like that. There's so many out there that say that silver is God's gift. It is the best thing since sliced bread. It will make you millions. It will be the thing you have to have. And if you don't have it, you will be missing out, or you will not be able to survive in the economies and the worlds to come. And, you know, that in my mind is to a certain extent fear-mongering. And, you know, I think the real world comes back down to earth for me quite a lot. Back to that original statement in that, yeah, silver goes up, silver goes down. Buy within your means and understand that you don't lose on this stuff until you look to sell it. Whether it be a premium piece or whether it be just a piece of bullion that you bought yesterday for, you know, $20 or what was it, $28 an ounce 2 weeks ago, and now it's $22 an ounce. You know, whatever it might be, whatever those price changes might be, it is not a loss until you cash it out. And that is something that people need to understand, because the emotions that come with seeing these tumbling prices are really interesting. And it's one which I've talked at length actually with a number of different dealers about. And I wanted to share in the second kind of part of this video, I suppose, a little bit of insight as to how dealers work, because when you get big movements in prices like we've seen in the last week, it's really interesting to sort of get the idea of what these big players in the market. And I know there's a lot of sort of big stacking YouTubers who will have big budgets and they'll buy lots, but that pales into insignificance compared with a dealer who will be literally buying millions of pounds of silver a month, or even more sometimes. The bigger dealers out there I know will be spending an inordinate amount of money each month on silver. And, you know, a lot of the time these dealers will be working to order. So when a customer places an order, they will replace what they have bought with more ounces of silver. So it's a kind of rolling system. And what I've understood, if you ever did want to look to try and start a bullion business, if you have a large sum of capital to get you started, then ultimately how it works is you put that capital in, you get your stock. Then the sales that you make from the stock that you initially purchased will then roll over and be reinvested into more stock. And then that's the sort of day-to-day profit that you work on. And over a longer period of time, that profit rolls in on a small basis. You know, we're talking small margins here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6%, depending on the coin. If it's just bullion, perhaps a little bit more. And there are, of course, dealers out there that are trying to cash in even more on the kind of premium prices that there are out there at the moment. But, you know, premium prices and, you know, price hiking aside, ultimately what dealers do is they work on a kind of almost daily basis of, well, we've sold this much today at this price, so we're going to restock at today's price. And they often will. They often will just lock in prices on a daily basis. I know that for a fact. And it's quite an interesting way of kind of looking at the accounting of it. Now, of course, you can look at it at the completely opposite way. You know, if you've bought some silver coins 2 weeks ago as a dealer and you've bought £1 million worth of silver coins and spot price drops and that £1 million is now only worth £900,000 and you sell all that stock for £900,000, you say, well, I've lost £100,000. But that ultimately is going to even itself out over time. And that is an important factor to take in, that there will be times when things might on paper look like they've gone down or look like they've gone up. And it works exactly the other way. If a dealer bought silver 2 weeks ago for £1 million and the price went up and went to 1.2 million, then of course they make that extra profit. So it does, you know, it goes round and round in roundabouts. And that is a really important thing that I think we can learn. And when I've spoken with dealers in the past about price drops and situations like this, they love it. They think it is the time to buy because they know that naturally the markets will go a certain direction at a certain point. And the £100,000 loss that they might just take in that particular month, that, you know, let's give this month as an example. They bought last month £1 million, they lost it, £100,000 down to 900,000. They sell all of that stock, they have £900,000 left now. They replace like for like. Next month when the silver price is up again, they haven't actually lost anything because they are rolling. But if silver price goes even more higher than that original £1 million, then they're going to make that money back and then some more. It's a really interesting concept, and one which I think suits quite a lot of businesses, and it's not necessarily appropriate for people to work that way. And it's kind of the way that I have almost tended to look to work for my poured silver. So when I sell a piece of silver, poured silver, I'll basically log that in my tracking spreadsheets and my accounts to say that I've sold that much silver. And then each month at the moment, I am replacing the amount in terms of ounces that I sell. So when I sell these 1 ounce bars that you see here, which will be coming, by the way, very soon in October, so subscribe for updates on that, I will immediately then go and rebuy the amount of ounces of that I have got. So in the long term, it's an interesting concept because you do even out, and you do, some projects you'll make a little bit more on because you've locked in at a certain price, or some projects you'll lose out on. Like, for example, the 100-gram silver 4-ohm bars that I sold when we sold them in August and September. Prices there were really high. But it's the only way to lock in your profits. And that's one of the reasons why these dealers do it. If they don't rebuy the metal at the price that they get at that immediate time, then their profits are flexible. Their profits go up, their profits go down. But if they lock it in, then they lock it in. Then they know for sure what they have made at that particular time, at that particular month. And for me, that's the only real tangible way and real way to learn, learn how good my business is, but also sort of actually realize a profit, because otherwise what am I doing? I'm just sitting here gambling, and I don't like to gamble. Gambling's not a good thing. It's, if you're going to gamble, why not just go and take a 50-50 chance on red or black at a casino is my thoughts, rather than going into huge globally controlled and manipulated markets. It's just not right for me. Anyway, I kind of digress on that particular front. So the point here is that you never lose money on silver until you actively cash out on it. And what I sometimes mean by that is when you sell, you're cashing out. And if you're selling even as a business, you are cashing out at a certain point and you are making a profit or a loss. And depending on how you account for that is how it can transpose onto your bookkeeping, onto your spreadsheet, onto your profit loss. And for me as a small independent business, it's very difficult to kind of understand that and to get your head around it. And often, people will look, for example, at the poured silver that me and many other people make, which takes a lot of time, energy and effort. And they'll look at the sale price and they'll think, oh my God, Backyard Bullion, you're making 10, 15 pounds an ounce profit. That's just not the case sometimes. If it was, that would be so lovely. It's realistically so much less because you are looking at the current live prices, the current live premiums, shipping, manufacturing costs, all of these other things, assay testing, postage. It all adds up, and it's a hard grind. It is a hard grind. And fortunately, there are higher premiums on poured silver. So ultimately for me and many others that make their own poured silver, it can be somewhat of a sustainable model to be able to actually continue doing it and roll those profits over into making other things. But I can tell you and speak from experience that over this last 4 or 5 years, 4 years now of doing silver on YouTube and making my own poured silver, it's a labor of love. It's not a labor of money. You kind of have a cash flow situation where you've got money coming in every month, but money goes out every month on new materials and new silver and expansion and growth. And taking an actual salary is, it's a really interesting concept. And that's not necessarily how HMRC sees it as well. Our tax man, you take profits as a self-employed business, but often when you calculate those profits, any raw stock that you hold is not counted as a cost to the business because it's still got value. You're on a balance sheet and everything. So it's really interesting to sort of conceptualize how that works and where, you could be or should be in terms of profit loss. So, I think there's a lot to share, and I think I've got a lot to say on this subject, and it's, I think, a really interesting one about how we deal with things. And I think in conclusion, I just want to sum up again that, there's going to be roller coasters. This world that we live in now is becoming even more unpredictable than it had ever been before, and we're going to see price hikes, we're going to see price drops, we're going to see currencies losing value, gaining value, we're going to see tumultuous results from the election and the way it's going. I mean, look, I don't want to get this into a politicized debate, love or hate either candidate. There are plenty that love and hate both candidates for the US elections. Love or hate them, it's going to have an effect on markets, on currencies, on silver, on gold, on the way that we live our lives. And I do genuinely think that this election is going to put a bigger strain on emotional democracy generally, than ever before. I genuinely think this is going to end up as a hung election with Supreme Court rulings, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be very close. So anyway, I don't want to get political at all. It's just, the point is that there's so much uncertainty. This world is a mess. It is uncontrollable. And for us humble people sitting here on YouTube, it is difficult. So when I say the phrase that I am not a financial advisor, I'm just a guy who likes to talk about shiny things here on YouTube, remember that. And remember that a lot of other people out there equally are the same, and backing up the truck, going and buying all the silver that you possibly can right now is a bit irresponsible if it goes above your normal means and normal budget and normal ability to survive and pay rent. And don't borrow to go and buy silver. There's such a temptation, and the fear of missing out, the fear mongering of a lot of these big named peoples. I'm not going to name names because there are plenty of them out there, but there are a lot of channels that will fearmonger, will spout that silver is the best thing and it will go to the moon, or it will take to $1,000 an ounce and you'll be able to buy a house with a monster box of silver. Is just fantasy. It is fantasy in my opinion, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll eat my hat. I have said this on YouTube many times. I have a nice straw hat and I will eat it if we get to even $100 an ounce within this next 6 months. But maybe one day that's possible with general currency fluctuations and inflations. Look, anyway, I start to ramble. It's what I do best. It's what I like to do best. And for those of you who have been following this video all the way to its 17th minute and are a member of the BYB Rambling Society, give us a shout out down in that comment section. I always get a lot of enjoyment by knowing who watches videos to the end, because I do go off on tangents and I do appreciate that and I know that. And on that vein, I do want to share with you guys who have been watching to the end of this video that we are looking to, or I am currently researching and writing a scripted topic video on something which I think is very important. Now, some of the subjects that we've touched here today are going to be in that essay, I like to call it. I'm writing an essay which I will then sort of bring to YouTube in a kind of scripted format. It's a very different approach to content creation, one which I am a big fan of. I like watching scripted kind of researched content here on YouTube, and I think that I've got a lot to say and I want to make sure that I say it right, because I think a lot of the things I do say tend to be a bit tangent orientated and a bit rambly. So that's something that's going to be coming up in the not too distant future, but I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions on that. For you ramblers who've been watching this long, what are your thoughts on the style of content? It'd be interesting to see. Anyway, rambling aside, big thank you to everybody for watching. I hope you guys all enjoy your silver that you have right now, and I hope that you are enjoying the roller coaster ride that we're all on, because the one thing that is for sure, this stuff, it's going to be good in the long run, and that's where we want to be. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate all of your support. If you've enjoyed today's video, put a thumbs up on it and share it around on your social media. Otherwise, that is it from me today. A big thank you to everybody for watching. See you on the next one. And as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.